Today we're testing the theory that bigger means better, and we're testing that theory with the new exhaust that I just got from my Honda SCL500. Now this is America, where we're taught that bigger always means better. Need some fries? You better supersize them, brother. Need a truck? It better be the biggest one you can find, brother. But I'm of the belief that it's not always about how big it is, sometimes it's about how you use it. Pause. And to hopefully prove that point, today we're installing this new Coffman's exhaust on the SCL500, which is a fraction of the size and cost of my old exhaust, but has more features, better build quality, and solves all of the problems that I had with the old exhaust. Let's check this thing out, but first make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Now we're only about 30 seconds into the video, and I'm sure you already have a couple of questions in mind, namely, why is the old exhaust already off of the bike, and what are these issues that you said that you had with them? So let's dive into that. All right, so this is the old exhaust that I had on there. It's the Vance Hines exhaust that I'm sure you've seen before if you're watching this video, because the install review video of that exhaust has like 100,000 views already. And in that video, I said that I absolutely loved it, and at the time I did, but I ran into an unexpected issue or two that a few other people have already ran into as well. So if you haven't seen this exhaust yet, it's not on there, but I can hold it up so you guys can kind of see how it would look. So it goes on a little something like that and follows the stock routing. And if you watched that video, you probably heard me talk about the fact that this pipe is super wide and it's right by the foot pegs. And on the stock exhaust, there's a big old heat shield here, but with this exhaust, there's obviously no heat shields down here, only up at the top here. And I was saying that there's a chance that maybe your foot could end up burning on that or something. I haven't had that issue, but there is, I think, one or two other people that have. As you can see from the picture, it's pretty gnarly. Myself, personally, I have no idea how you could get your foot close enough for it to burn that badly, especially like not feeling the heat and letting it go that far. But regardless, that's one of the first issues that people have encountered with it. But the biggest issue that has arisen from these things, which I have experienced and is the main reason why I took it off, is this. Within just a few months, the inside of this thing has absolutely just gotten coated in rust. And of course the sun goes away right as I try to show this, so I'll include a clip right here of when I first discovered it. As you can see, the inside of this thing is just absolutely riddled with rust, and I'm not the only one that's experienced this. I think I've already seen 4 or 5 other people that have this same issue. If you look up the Vance Hines exhaust on Revzilla, you can see the reviews there and see all the pictures of the other people that encountered this. Now I did reach out to Vance Hines, and they said that the issue is that it's actually made out of mild steel and not stainless steel, so obviously mild steel is like much more prone to rusting. And they did say that they would pass that info on to the engineering team and see if they could find a way to coat the inside of it as well to prevent rust. So fingers crossed that they do that, because aside from the rust issue, I absolutely loved that exhaust. It sounded incredible and I thought it looked great as well. But the rust is inexcusable, and fortunately, shortly after that, Coffman's came out with this bad boy, which is fully stainless steel, which is kind of what I was saying about how much better build quality this should be. So now let's take a look at that. All right, so here she is in all of her glory, looking so damn good. I almost just threw that thing across the freaking yard because it's so light, and I was just playing around with that. We'll talk about just how much lighter this is in a second. Yeah, I totally forgot to circle back to this later in the video, so I'll just say it here. The OEM muffler weighed 14.4 pounds, the Vance Hines weighed 7.8, and the Coffman's only weighs 2.4 pounds. That means that with the new Coffman's exhaust, we're saving 5.4 pounds over the Vance Hines and a whopping 12 pounds over OEM. But just right off the bat, you can tell the quality's so nice. Look at how buttery smooth those welds are. The Vance Hines welds are a little bit chunkier in comparison. The finish is absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, this bad boy is fully stainless steel, so we don't got to worry about it rusting. And at the end here, like I said, it has more features, and that feature is the fact that it has a removable silencer included. There's just a snap ring in there that takes the silencer in and out pretty easily, and you can tune the sound to your liking. But with the Vance Hines, you don't really have that choice. It is a little bit loud, which I love, but you might not love, so I'm thinking if you like quiet, this might be the good route. But you'll have to stick around and find out, because shortly we'll be doing a sound test with and without the silencer. And then just like the Vance Hines, you have the black clamp instead of stainless steel to really keep everything all murdered out, which obviously I'm a big fan of since I blacked out the forks, all that kind of good stuff. And it's pretty cool. It actually comes with this spring and this other little bracket that will mount up right there to hold it in place a little bit better, since it doesn't utilize this mounting point. If you guys have watched this at all, the build series, and even if you haven't, you can tell just looking at it, I like this bike to be very streamlined. I took the rear fender off, I took the big mirrors off, so I think it's gonna look really, really good with this, just fitting right down there, real nice and streamlined. And I think it should really add to kind of like the cafe racer tracker-ish vibe that I'm going for, versus like the full-blown scrambler high mount vibes. So very, very excited already. Now let's talk about an issue that arises with this new exhaust and how we're gonna bypass that. All right, so this angle right here really shows the issue that you run into, and I'm sure you can tell what it is. It is that big big old stock exhaust bracket right here that I was just talking about. It is just absolutely hideous, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's welded to the frame, and obviously that exhaust doesn't use it, so it's just going to be out in the open. Now, I'm not going to tell you just yet what solution I found for that hideous bracket, but if you've been paying attention, you probably saw it in the background a few times already. Instead, I'm going to show you the solution, so let's go ahead and throw on the exhaust and the solution. Damn, that looks so freaking good. Well, that sucks, but it looks fine. And now for the pièce de la résistance. You cannot tell me that doesn't look so freaking good. Bro, just look at how freaking good it looks. Leave a comment and let me know if you're stoked on the number plate or not. I thought it was like the perfect way to tie in some cafe racer vibes while also totally blocking that bracket. And this is obviously the first time I've seen everything all together, and I could not be more stoked. Install of the exhaust itself was about as simple as it gets. You just have that clamp down there, and then of course that spring right there that you got to attach to hold it on, which I think is a really nice touch. Most smaller exhausts or Shorty exhausts just have only the clamp, so if that clamp somehow fails, you're kind of SOL and your exhaust is flying off. So I really like that it at least has that kind of like backup plan to hold it in place. And because this only mounts at the clamp and then has that spring and no other mounting points, you can kind of change the angle of it a bit to exactly how you like it. I have mine kind of tucked in just as close as it can go without interfering with the swing arm, and I really like it because it's tucked in so close to the bike that it almost looks like if it tips over, the foot peg bracket and the engine case will probably hit before the exhaust even does. So if you plan on doing any sort of like actual scrambling with it or light off-roading, any kind of like engine guards you get for it should protect the exhaust. And I think these number plates turned out so damn good. These things were only 10 bucks each off of Amazon. I drilled my own holes, added my own graphics, and it looks so damn good. You couldn't even tell the bracket was there if you didn't know that you were looking for it. Now for the spacers, it's a 2 1/4 inch spacer up there, 2 3/4 inch spacer back there. I'll leave links to where I got all of this in the description. These originally were raw aluminum and then I painted them, and I'm really pleased with the finish. It matches so well, has that nice texture to it. It's my first time painting with this stuff. I didn't even know that these people made paint that could be used for outdoors. I thought it was just for like painting inside the house, but I'm really pleased with it. And of course the number plate on this side matches perfectly as well, and it's great because like I said, this exhaust is a fraction of the price of the Vance Hines, so with the leftover money I was able to get those number plates, spacers, bolts, and have money left over. I think I already mentioned that the Vance Hines is about $450 at the time of filming this, and the Coffman's is only $350. So you're saving 100 bucks getting the Coffman's, and then it was 20 bucks for the number plates, maybe 10 bucks for the bolts. I forget how much the spacers were. You could probably find them cheaper if you just stacked a bunch of smaller spacers, but I had those cut to the exact size that I needed. But regardless, you can get this whole setup and have money left over. And before we start it up so you can hear it, I'll show you one more perk to the fact that this is all the way down here. Now, some of you guys might have thought this as soon as you saw the number plate and all the room that was left with this exhaust, but I gotta say it, there's now room for saddlebags on both sides of the bike. Before, with the Vance Hines and the stock exhaust being all the way up here, you could only have a saddlebag on this side, which was not only just kind of funky looking and disproportionate, but it also means that if you're going moto camping or something like that, your only real choice is a top case, which isn't really a good look in my opinion. But with all this space cleared out now, there is tons of room for saddlebags, and this is what I figured out for that. Ammo cans, baby! This was only 10 bucks off of Amazon also. I haven't done anything to mount it up yet because it just came in this morning and I don't have a second one yet, but you could easily drill holes in the back of it and just mount it to those spacers as well, and you'd have nice little saddlebags there, or you could even get the bigger ones. But these are pretty cool. They actually have a locking tab right there and two on the sides, so you can lock all your stuff up. And because it's an ammo can, it does have a rubber seal around the top of it to kind of keep moisture out and keep all your things safe. So not only can you jimmy up your own contraption of saddlebags now that you have room on both sides, but hopefully this means that aftermarket companies will see this and start making kits that have saddlebags on both sides that are matching, which would be awesome. But enough yapping, we know why we're here. We want to hear how this thing sounds, and I'm really anxious, I think would be the word, to hear how it sounds, because I can't lie, that Vance Hines exhaust sounds so damn good. I'm really going to be sad to see it go because it sounded so good, but like I said, we kind of had no choice in the matter, and this has turned out to be way better so far. But the final moment of truth is finding out if it sounds good enough to stay on. right, so I have no idea if the GoPro did that justice or not. I feel like normally the GoPro mic does not, but fingers crossed it did. I'll save my opinions on it though. I'll fill you guys in once we hear it without the silencer as well. We're back, it's cooled down. I have it wrapped in some masking tape or painter's tape, whatever, because we're gonna have to take that snap ring out right there, and snap rings are known to go flying, so I always do this to make sure I don't chip the tip or anything like that. So I got my snap ring pliers right here. I always stick it through a rubber glove and then wrap the tip of that in painter's tape as well to make sure that I don't scratch the tip with this. And we're just gonna take it out and see how she sounds. That is the easiest that has ever gone. Holy crap. Shazam! And there's the sound suppressor right there. All right, so now with the sound suppressor out, you saw how easy that was. And now you can see down inside, you can see all the baffling and packing in there still, really high quality. And of course, you still get some of the kind of muffling and such, even without the sound insert in there. And I think pointing that out is really important because I know with Coffmans, because they're so short, lots of people I've heard compare them to just like the Radiant Cycles or whatever, Shorty GP, and say that the Coffmans is maybe a little too expensive because it's just a pipe and doesn't do much. But I can assure you with this video right here of the Shorty GP, that has absolutely no baffling in it. It's literally just a metal pipe and does nothing. But you can see in comparison, the Coffmans has a lot more thought into it and a lot more baffling. Okay, now that we have the sound suppressor out and we took a closer look at kind of the inner workings of it, it's time for the first startup, get a couple sound clips without the sound suppressor, and then I'll wrap up with my final thoughts. Okay, let's get out of here because something tells me that we have overstayed our welcome, because now everybody's getting off work, getting off school, people are walking everywhere, and that was considerably louder. All right, so like I said earlier, I have no idea if the camera does that justice, because obviously lots of the time it does not. So here are kind of my thoughts about everything. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started it up with the sound suppressor in, I wasn't really impressed by it, mainly because I like a louder bike. And you guys, if you've watched the channel before, you know that I have a Coffman's exhaust on my, damn, he schlumped, on my Rebel 1100, Nina's Rebel 300. We put it on Dom's Rebel 500. I have one on my Grom, and it feels like I'm always saying that with the sound suppressor in, that is how this bike should sound from the factory, and then with it out, it turns into like a whole other beast. And yeah, that could not be more true with this bike. So I want to say that with the sound suppressor in, it's honestly only like 1/3 to maybe half the volume of the Vance Hines exhaust, so like 1/3 to halfway in between the stock sound and the Vance Hines. But with the sound suppressor out, oh my god, you have woken the beast. At first I thought that it was just kind of on par with the Vance Hines, but after riding around for a little bit, I think I'm convinced that it is definitely louder than the Vance Hines. Not by much, but a little bit louder, which is to be expected since it's so much smaller of a unit. I think it sounds a little bit more maybe hollow, less full-bodied than the Vance Hines, if we're referring to it in wine terms, less full-bodied, but it still sounds incredible. It has all those like kind of crackles and raspiness that the Vance Hines does still, and I mean, hopefully you guys can tell as I'm just putting through this parking lot, it still is nice and quiet. It doesn't really wake the beast until you really step on it. So needless to say, I am for sure keeping it with no silencer. But I mean, when we get back to the question of is bigger always better, in this case, the answer is absolutely not. Also, here's something to consider if you guys decide to go no fender. All of this has flung up on me today. You don't even want to see my back. But yeah, in this case, bigger is... Damn, that's dirty too. Look at that. Anyway, ADD. In this case, bigger is not better. I am so stoked on this. I am not going to run anything else. It's just so good. It cleans the bike up so well for that kind of cafe racer tracker vibe that I was talking about, especially when you tie in the number plates. It just looks so good, and the sound is incredible. So yeah, this thing rips. It is a no-brainer. I'll leave a link to it in the description, along with links for all of the tools that I used, the number plates, the ammo can that I found to use as saddlebags. Everything you saw in this video, there will be a link in the description. And now that we've determined that this thing is absolutely incredible, there's only one thing left to do. Document how freaking good she looks now. But not only that, check this out, guys. Are you ready for this? Look at it go. Your eyes do not deceive you. This is a digital Polaroid camera, and this thing is friggin' awesome. I just got it last week, and I've been playing around with it. We'll wait for that to develop. But the coolest part is that this is actually the newest Patreon perk from here on out. So on Patreon now, not only do you still get all the behind-the-scenes access, early access to videos, all that kind of good stuff, but every time I make a video, every time I'm out riding, every time I go on a trip, I'm going to be taking Polaroids along the way, and for each Polaroid that I take, I'm going to pick a subscriber, or I'm sorry, Patreon member, and I'm going to send the Polaroid to them at random. So if you're a Patreon member, doesn't matter if you're the $3 a month all the way up to the $25 a month, every Patreon member, every single time I take one of these, has the option to win it, which I think is pretty cool, you know? Especially during riding season, you figure that's going to be 4 to 6 a month or something like that. So I figured that would be a really cool way to give you guys like a tangible piece of the videos that you see, you know? So make sure to check out patreon.com/lifeofburch, where you can pledge your monthly amount, and one of you guys is going to win this. Shout out to all the current Patreon members. I love you guys so much. Couldn't be doing this without y'all. And other than that, you know what to do. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Love you guys. Peace.
Oh, so basic. Hope you play this. Damn, I prayed it. Nice song, and I became this. Old souls fake it. Paid those placements. Fuck shit. And I'm still waiting on the brighter days. Been a minute, been rough many times more. And I'm kicking rocks to a sky of gray. Praying hard, talk to me before I'm done for.